before we start, we'll say a short invocation. So if you know, then please do chant with me. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidparam. So as it was mentioned in the introduction, Chinmaya Mission is an organization that is named after our founder, our Pujya Gurudev, Swami Chinmayanandaji. I think many of you, I'm making an assumption here, many of you are from Kerala? Yes, correct. I heard the accent and I guessed. Swami Chinmayanandaji, in his Purva ashram, before he became a sannyasi, he was born and brought up in Kerala, near Cochin. So he grew up there as a child, and his family were Brahmins. So they were following all rituals, they were doing all prayers, pujas, everything in their house. And when he was growing up, as a young boy, his name was Balakrishna Menon. And he did not enjoy these prayers, because everybody, all the children, they were made to sit down. Imagine if you all had to sit every evening for 2-hour-long puja. No choice. So his family made him sit and he didn't enjoy it. But he used to close his eyes and he would picture Lord Shiva, because there was a beautiful picture of Lord Shiva in the altar. So he was familiar with all these things from his childhood, but as he grew up, naturally as we all do, when we see when we see youngsters questioning, when we see them questioning Hinduism or questioning the faith, questioning our beliefs, we get very worried. Why you don't believe in God and why you won't do namaskar? We're losing our culture. We forget that once upon a time we also did these things. We also ask, why do we have to go to the temple? Why do we have to do namaskar? So he also used to ask these questions. And in fact, when he went to university in Lucknow, and he said that, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. These rishis, these sages who are living in the Himalayas, they are frauds. They're fakes. Simply they're tricking people, trying to get their attention, trying to get them to follow. There's nothing of substance. And he ended up working for a newspaper. And as part of a newspaper article, he thought, I will go to, all of these places, Rishikesh, Haridwar, and I will expose these people who are pretending to be sadhus, who are pretending to be monks. And so this Balakrishna Menon ended up at the ashram of Swami Shivanandaji. Have you heard? Everybody must, some of you know. Divine Life Society. He ended up at this ashram. And he stayed there for some time. And he started thinking, actually, this person, this sannyasi is doing so much good work in society. Swami Shivanandaji himself was a doctor. He would treat people. They would do social service in the community. They would serve people. And he found that maybe I was wrong. He started thinking. So he called up his editor and he said, listen, I'm going to stay here for some more time. I need to investigate a little bit more. And he stayed and he began to study from Swami Shivanandaji. And as he studied more and more, he found that actually this is what I have been looking for. all these teachings which are being given to me now, this is what I have been searching for. This is what I've been longing for. And he asked Swami Shivanandaji for permission to take sannyas, means to renounce everything, to become a Swami. And Swami Shivanandaji gave him that sannyas, and he gave him the name Swami Chinmayananda Saraswati. Now, not a lot of us have the courage to admit when we are wrong. We get very scared. But one thing that we saw in our Puja Gurudev is that when he found that actually what I thought was wrong is the truth, he had the honesty and the courage to admit it. Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj then said that you should study further. So he sent him to Swami Taponji Maharaj, who lived in Uttar Kashi at that time. Swami Taponji Maharaj also was from Kerala. Really, it's God's own country. He also was from Kerala. He had ended up going to the Himalayas. He was living in Uttar Kashi. So Swami Chinmayanandaji, our Puja Gurudev, went there and he studied from him. And what happens when we study these scriptures? The result that we get is so much more than we can imagine. The joy that arises from realizing the truth that is being communicated by our scriptures. Our Puja Gurudev found that. But what did he do? He said that this is something that everybody needs. Up until that time, scriptures were not being taught to the public generally. If they were being taught to the public, it would not have been in English. And the language of that time, as a result of the British occupation, the education system, the common language was English. So he said this must reach everybody. We cannot be selfish and say that it has to stay up with us in the mountains. This knowledge must reach everybody. And as a result of this conviction, now if you see Chinmaya Mission, there are over 300 centers worldwide. Classes used to begin from age 5 up to no maximum age limit. Now there is no minimum age limit also, because classes are being run for toddlers. There are schools which are being run. There are rural education, rural upliftment programs. There are colleges, there are hospitals. So this vision that he had, that the wisdom which belongs to us, this Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas, the Upanishads, they belong to us. They belong to our heritage. And we were completely ignorant. This knowledge truly is reaching people in the society, at every level of society. And because of him only, we have some claim that we can come and study the Bhagavad Gita. So, this is an introduction to our Puja Gurudev. And what Chinmaya Mission does, specifically here in the UK, what is relevant to us, we have a centre in North London, which sometimes seems like another country when we're in South London. North of the river, what do you mean? So in North London we have a centre, but we have classes running in Sutton also, for children, for adults. We run classes in the universities in London, outside London, and we celebrate all the major festivals at our centre. There will generally be something going on. And the main focus of Chinmaya Mission is this knowledge. This knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, of the Upanishads, of the great teachers that have come before us. This knowledge is what we seek to make available to everybody, at whatever level they prefer. So today, we are thinking a little bit about the Bhagavad Gita. I will try and leave some time for questions also. The Bhagavad Gita is said to be the essence of the Vedas, of the teaching which is there in the Vedas. If we think about Hinduism, if we think about Sanatana Dharma, our real authority, the source of our knowledge, our spiritual knowledge is the Vedas. The Vedas are 4. Rig, Yajur, Sama and Atharva. So the 4 Vedas are there. This is our body of knowledge. And the essence of all of that knowledge is contained in the Bhagavad Gita. So when you study the Bhagavad Gita, you can say that, I know what's there in the Vedas, even if we've never read any Veda mantra. So our question is, if we want to know what's in the Gita, our first question is, well, what's in the Vedas? Because when we know the source, then we will know what the theme is of Bhagavad Gita. That is where it has come from. So there are 100 available right now, 100,000 mantras in the Vedas. But there are 2 themes. I'm not going to tell you to read 100,000 mantras, because first you have to study Sanskrit, then you have to understand the grammar. Then when you read those mantras also, we won't be able to understand by ourselves. What are the 2 main themes of the Vedas? The 2 themes are dharma and Brahma. Dharma I will not translate, because it is a term that connotes so many things. Brahma means the reality, the truth. How is this relevant to us? Now you will ask. The Vedas teach these 2 things, dharma and Brahma. If you think in your life, what are the main questions that arise? What are the main questions that we have when we are living our lives? The main one is, what should I do? Generally, this is our question. What should I do? What is the right thing to do? And if I know what I'm doing, I know exactly where I'm going in life, I know what I'm doing, I know the right way to do everything, then we start asking deeper questions. Then we start asking, what is this world? Who am I? What is my place in this world? Who is God? Is there a God? Who is God? What is His relationship with me? These questions are what are answered by our scriptures. Now we understand the relevance of dharma. But we have this question, why should I learn about Brahma? Why should I learn about that truth? Why should I learn about the reality? What is the purpose of our lives? Okay, I won't ask this question. Why do we do what we do? This everybody can think for themselves. Why do we do what we do? Generally, what will be the answer? Because I want to. Because I want to do it, so I do it. Why have you all come here this evening? What kind of a question? It's not a very polite question to ask. Why have you come here? You think, why have you come here this evening? Because there was some desire, whether it's to listen to the music, whether it's to listen to the chanting, whether it's to support the children, whether it's because your friend told you to and you don't want to disappoint your friend. You're not interested in what's going on, but my friend told me to come, so chalo, I'll go. I'll sit there for some time. Whatever the reason is, it is because there is some desire. There is some desire. And you think about everything that you do, anything that you do. Why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you brush your teeth? Why do you have a bath? Why do you eat breakfast? Why do you go to work? Brush your teeth because you have to. Otherwise they'll fall out. So why do we do these things? Some desire is there. Either desire that I want to, or I don't want punishment if I don't brush my teeth. So some desire is there. Now if we ask this question, why does any desire arise? Why do we want something? Why do you want to eat ice cream when there's hot weather? Why do you want to go outside and enjoy the sunshine? I know you all want to be here. I'm just saying that. Why do you want to be outside? I know you don't really want to be outside. Why does any desire arise? Because we believe that when I get that thing that I want, I will be happy. I will be happy. So actually, what is driving everything that we do? Our desire for happiness. And what do we do to achieve this desire? This is a very open-ended question. What do we not do, more like? We are prepared to do anything to be happy, actually. People are prepared to do anything. So there is an infinite variety of things that we can do. But when we analyze, what are we doing? We are making some adjustments. We are rearranging some things. We rearrange the place. So if we're not happy where we are, we think that London is becoming really busy, and it's not safe. It's not a good environment to bring up children. Too many things are happening. I think we'll be much happier. Then we decide, okay, let's move somewhere else. Or, very simple example also, you're sitting somewhere and you think, no, this is not a good place. There's no breeze flowing. I can't see properly. What do? You move. We adjust the place where we are. Sometimes we feel very unhappy with the people around us. We don't have a choice with family, but with friends, what do? I'll make new friends. My friends are becoming very boring, this, that. I make new friends. So we adjust people around us. We adjust objects. So first I was using an iPhone 5S. I use iPhone 5S, okay? It's a good phone. Then I decided it's become so slow. What is this? The camera is so bad. Look at everybody with their iPhone 8, 9, 10. I should get a new one. So you sell the iPhone 5 and you get 10. Or you old cars, so you sell the car, you get a new one. Or house is no longer good, so you sell the house, you get a new one. Or you sell you change your appliances, you change this, change that. We make some adjustments in the objects, possessions that we have. So we adjust. And if none of this works, what do we think? You know what, right now, my stars are not aligned. It's just, that's all that's happening. So I'll just wait for some time, then Saturn will move here, there, something will happen, and everything will be okay. Means if everything else has failed, you wait for some time to pass, you adjust the time, and I'll be happy again. So what are we doing? We're constantly trying to rearrange everything on this board of life. We're playing chess. And we make one move. So we think that, okay, I'm set. I've got a game plan. I know that if I make this move, I can do this next, I can do that next. But what happens in our game is we don't allow for anybody else's moves. We don't think. What if something else happens? So we adjust everything, and then sometimes everything is perfect. So then we feel, yes, I'm happy now, finally, after so much effort. But what if something goes wrong? Then, will you still be happy? For some reason, God forbid, somebody passes away. You get transferred from your job. You have to move. Will you still be happy? Again, we'll start making these adjustments. So we're looking for happiness, but we are making adjustments outside. And where do we want happiness? We don't want it outside, we want it inside. So, essentially, what are our scriptures telling us? That stop looking outside. Because this happiness that you are looking for is not outside, it is inside. How can you say this? How can you make such a claim? What is your proof? What's your logic? What's the rationale? In this entire universe, there are two things. In this universe, there are only two things. There is me, the experiencer, and there is everything that I experience. And everything that I experience comes into one category. Are we ready to do this? Are we ready to put the universe into one category? No matter if it's somebody I like, somebody I don't like, some food that I love, some food that I'm allergic to, some place that I love, place that makes me very unhappy. Everything is in one category of what I experience. And what I experience is different from me, the one who is experiencing. This much is okay. Now, I'm looking for, what are we looking for? What is our desire? What are we looking for? Happiness. We're looking for happiness. Is happiness the nature of what we experience? Is the nature of what we experience, is it happiness? We're looking for happiness, right? So we have to ask, where is it? There are two options. Either it's with me, or it's with what I experience. Now, is it with what I experience? For example, what makes you happy? What makes me happy on a sunny, hot day if I get some ice cream to eat? Some example I'm giving you, okay? I get ice cream. Now, if happiness is in that object, if happiness is the nature of that object, what does that mean? That everybody who eats that ice cream should get what? Happiness. Everybody should get happiness. If you all are made to eat the same ice cream that I like, will you be happy? No. Because you like some different flavor, I like some different flavor. Somebody doesn't like ice cream. Somebody is allergic to, somebody is lactose intolerant, this, that. So, happiness cannot be the nature of what I'm experiencing. Therefore, it must be the nature of what? the experiencer. I didn't say anything, you only said, happiness is your nature. And where are we looking for happiness? Where are we looking? Outside. So what are our scriptures telling us? Stop looking in the wrong place. That happiness which you're looking for, it is your own nature. It is within you. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to find anybody. You don't need to get anything. That happiness is within you. And when you know your own self clearly, properly, that happiness will be yours. And another name for this happiness that we are looking for is Brahma. Is Brahman. Now do we have this question, why should we study the scriptures? If they're teaching us about dharma and Brahman, will we ask this question, why should I study? Because we are looking for happiness. What are the scriptures offering us? A means to attain that happiness. Now where does dharma fit into all of this? Because we've understood what is, very briefly we have understood Brahman as one theme of the Vedas, as one topic of the Vedas. The other topic is what? Dharma. Now, what is dharma? This is a very big question. What is dharma? This word we use in so many different ways. If we look at the Sanskrit, anybody knows Sanskrit, studies Sanskrit? So the root of the word dharma is dhr. Dhr means to sustain, to uphold. Exactly. That which sustains, which holds, is dharma. And this can be interpreted in many different ways. So one meaning of the word dharma is the essence, the nature of a thing, without which it will stop being that thing. That is its dharma. So the dharma of the sun is to give heat and light. The dharma of sugar is sweetness. The dharma of human beings is, what did we just come to conclude? To be happy is happiness. The nature of sugar is sweetness. The nature of our self is happiness. This is one meaning of dharma. Dharma also means, when we say that which sustains, which upholds, which sustains the society. Now, what is it that upholds the society? So how in every country you go, and there are some rules, there are some laws, and those laws are set by the constitution, right? The government has set those laws. Now, just by going into that country and looking around, can you tell what the laws are? Can you just look and you will see? No. So in the same way, dharma is the universal constitution which is given by our scriptures. It tells us the ideal way of living, of behaving, which will sustain the community, which will sustain the society, which will hold it together. So there is general dharma. And there is, when we ask, what is our dharma as human beings? What should we do? What should we be doing? There is a golden rule. If we want elaboration, that also is provided by our scriptures. All the qualities that are needed. Forgiveness, truthfulness. So many things are there. But if we want one statement, one advice to live by, it is, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. However you want others to behave with you, that is how we should behave with others. If I want other people to be honest with me and I keep lying to everybody, it doesn't work. If I want people to respect me and I go on thinking that, what, these useless people keep coming to me and asking questions and doing this, that, it doesn't work. If I want people to love me and I'm unable to love them, it doesn't work. So if I want to know what is dharma, there is a story. Everybody likes stories. There is a story of a king. So this king had been ruling his kingdom for some time. All the best stories are like that. There was once a king. There was a king. And this king had been ruling his kingdom. He was doing very well. Everybody was happy. People were prosperous. But he was also very ambitious. So he would go out, he would conquer neighboring kingdoms, whenever possible peacefully, but sometimes he would have to fight and make them part of his kingdom. So he had expanded in this way. And one day he started having these questions about dharma. And he used to ask his ministers, he used to ask people in the court, and they would answer something, but he wasn't satisfied. He thought that, okay, but this is not a full answer. So he knew that there was one wise man who lived just outside of his kingdom. So he thought, I will go to see this wise man, this sage, and I will ask him my questions. So he had to travel some 2-3 days to reach this wise man. So he was traveling, he set out on foot. Everybody said, Maharaj, Raja will come with you. You need supplies for the journey, you need this, that. He said, no, you stay here. I'm going by myself. And he set off. And he reached that wise man's small one hut he was living in. And when he reached there, that sage was meditating. And he had heard stories that if you disturb someone in meditation, what happens? Something terrible can happen. So he said, I'll just wait outside. I don't want to be, I don't want him to open his third eye or something, who knows. So he said, I'll wait outside. And while he was waiting, somebody came running towards the kutia, towards this hut, making so much noise, and he approached and he was bruised and bleeding all over. He appeared so injured, and he could barely stand by the time he reached there. So this king saw him, and he thought, oh my God, who is this man? He looks like he's about to die. So quickly he picked him up, he brought him to the kutia, and the wise man had heard that something was going on, so he also came out of meditation. And they started treating this injured man. And the wise man said, here, there's a stream nearby, go and get water, get this medicine which grows, bring everything. So they got everything and they treated this injured man. And he had fallen unconscious. So they bandaged him, they cleaned him, they did everything. And after some time, he regained consciousness. And then the king asked him, who are you? And this man said that a few months back, you had come to my kingdom and you had fought with us. I was part of the army and I lost everything because you were trying to conquer our kingdom and make it part of your own. And I lost everything and I got so angry that I wanted to come and harm you. I wanted to come and take your life. So I followed you. I came to the palace, but your guards found me and they beat me. They tried to stop me, but I got away and I was following you. And now, you are the only one who has saved me. So now the wise man has come out. Before he went into meditation, nobody was there. He came out of meditation and suddenly one king is there on one hand. One bleeding man is there on the other hand. So he hears this other man's story and he says to the king, "Why did you come here?" And the king said to this wise man that I had 3 questions. The 3 questions were, what is the most important? Who is the most important person in one's life? What is the most important action to perform in life? And what is the most important time in one's life? And the king said, he had just seen what had happened. And he said, just as when this injured man approached you, you didn't ask any questions. Immediately you started helping him. The most important person in life is the person who is in front of us. The most important action is service of that person. And the most important time is now. The time is now. The person is here. And what is to be done? Service. Very simply, if we want to know what is dharma, if we live in this way, if we live in the present, if we respect whoever is in front of us, and if we serve whoever is around us, we will not go wrong. Our scriptures speak of dharma, and there is so much to say. On the one hand, there is this general dharma, that do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But there is also Vishesha dharma. Vishesha dharma means what? In particular. And this will vary according to the different stages that we are in life. So for example, if I'm a student, what is my dharma? What is our dharma when we're in school? To study. As much as we may not like the answer, the dharma is to study. When we are in householder's life, what is our dharma? To provide for our family, to take care of the family, and to support society at large. 4 stages of life are pointed out by our scriptures. The student, Brahmachari, householder, Grihastha, one who is what we now call retired. And finally, everybody was intended to take sannyas, means renounce. Nowadays, when we hear that everybody is supposed to take sannyas, we think, what? Only you people keep coming here and telling us that we should renounce. We are quite happy. So according to each stage in life, there are some particular duties which must be performed. And that is determined by our role. Because what is right for one person is not necessarily right for another. So we have to see, when we have this question, what is our dharma? The first question is, who are you? What is your identity? What is your role? And based on that role, you can see what are your responsibilities. The important thing about dharma is it is not based on our preferences. So when we're young and we prefer to be outside playing all day, our dharma is what? To study. So you keep some time for play, but your main occupation is what? Is to study. And it doesn't matter if you like it or not. Similarly, when we're living a family life, and our role is to provide for the family, to look after the family, whatever is required for that, we must do. So when that means young children and staying up all night and having some 2-3 hours of sleep, you may not like it, but you can't tell the child that, listen, I'm very tired, you take care of yourself. Or when you have to work to pay the mortgage, pay bills, there is no question of likes and dislikes. I don't like working, I'm going to stay at home. So our duty is what? The responsibilities that we have to society, to others, because we've gained from them. What is a child's responsibility to the parents? Is to look after them because the parents have given. Our responsibility to society, because we have gained so much, is to contribute to that society. And when we perform our dharma, when we do our duty, what does it do? So it is said in our scriptures that firstly it will give us material prosperity. Actually, what are we looking for in life? We want security, right? We don't want to worry. So this security, when we perform our dharma, we will gain this security. So dharma gives us what is called abhyudaya. Abhyudaya means this all-round material prosperity. But remember, what else are the scriptures speaking of? What else are the Vedas talking about? They're talking about dharma, but they are also talking about Brahma. That happiness, which is actually the ultimate goal of our life, is to what? Is to be happy. So when we perform dharma, not only do we get material prosperity, we are also led to nishreyasa. Nishreyasa means the highest good. Highest good is what? That which is good for everybody. And what is good for everybody? To be happy. So when we perform our dharma, we gain both of these things. Long term, our goal is achieved, but short term also, we are comfortable in life. Everything is in its right place. When we think of this a little bit differently, how can we put it? That in life, we have two things to do. One is to face whatever situations, challenges come to us. Because situations arise. And the second is to shape our life as we would like it to be. So not only are we facing the situations, the challenges that are coming to us, but we are also keeping in mind a long-term vision, a goal to aspire to. And in the process of aspiring to that goal, there will be challenges that arise. We cannot ignore them. We have to face those also. So we have to face life as it comes, but we have to make life as we would want it, as we would like it. We're not just here to say that, you know what, life is going on, let it go. Whatever happens, let it happen. If we don't set ourselves a goal, then we will stay where we are. And stagnation, we know, is not good for anything, for anyone. So we have to set a goal, and we have to face the challenges that come. And the goal is what? We already know that our goal is to achieve that permanent, infinite happiness. So this is what the scriptures are pointing out to us. What is that goal, but also how to achieve it. You heard at the end of this 12th chapter chanting, at the end of every chapter, what does it say? Om Tat Sat Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. So two things are said. Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. The Bhagavad Gita is what? It gives us knowledge of Brahman, the supreme reality, which is that infinite happiness that we are looking for, that is our own self. It is giving us Brahma Vidya, but it is also giving us the means to attain it. It is also a Yoga Shastra. So when we ask this question, what is the Bhagavad Gita giving us? Why should we study? What is its teaching? It is teaching us what is the goal of our life. What is the nature of that goal? And it is also giving us the means to attain it. Because Bhagavan will not just say, okay, listen, your target is, next year you have to run the marathon. But I'm not giving you a training plan. You figure it out. If you want to start from tomorrow running 26 miles, you try, see what happens. Bhagavan is much more compassionate than that. He gives us a goal, but he also explains how to achieve that goal, step by step. And 3 paths, 3 ways to that goal, actually only one path, 3 aspects of one path are pointed out. What are they? Karma Yoga, the Yoga of action, Bhakti Yoga, the Yoga of devotion, and Jnana Yoga, the Yoga of knowledge. Yoga means what? Yoga comes from the root yuj. Yuj means to unite. So yoga means that which will unite us with our goal, that which will unite us with the higher. So Bhagavan explains what is that higher truth that we are striving for. But he also explains how we can attain it, how we can strive for it, how we can prepare ourselves to attain that goal. So very briefly, are there questions? Couple of questions. So this is what the Bhagavad Gita is offering us. And its uniqueness is what? We said that the Vedas are our original source of knowledge, right? The Vedas is where our knowledge comes from. And it is in our tradition that generally the teaching is told in the form of, you'll find very often, a student-teacher dialogue. Because, when we just have to read rules or principles, we get very bored. We think there should be some, some dramatization should happen. So when some story is told that there was some such disciple, he was like this, then he went to the teacher, then the teacher said this, then the student asked some question, Then the teacher said this. Then we feel, yes, this is, a little bit more interesting. Something is there. So this student-teacher dialogue format you'll find very often. And in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, the knowledge portion of the Vedas, this dialogue will take place in some forest, in the mountains. Very peacefully, the guru is sitting. The student is also withdrawn from life. And we read this and we think that, it sounds very nice, but I'm not living in some forest. I'm not living in some cave. I'm living in this world, and this world is so busy. There is so much happening. There are constantly challenges that I need to face. There are people, there are situations, there are things which are confronting me, and I feel as though there is a battle going on outside, but that battle is reflected inside. Because one part of me knows what I should be doing. One part of me is telling me that this is what you need to do, and another part of me is telling that, no, why are you saying like this? It's almost as though there is some inner conflict. So to reflect this, we have the situation, the scenario of the Bhagavad Gita, where who is the student? Arjuna is the student. Arjuna, who is about to fight a war. And who is the teacher? None other than Bhagavan Shri Krishna himself. So we also feel that, our life must be like Arjuna's only. It is not like these students of the Upanishads. We are also fighting in this world. So we can relate to Arjuna. We have Arjuna's two main questions Arjuna has. What should I do? And who am I? And our questions are also like this. So when we study the Bhagavad Gita, we can relate that yes, Bhagavan is giving Arjuna answers to his questions. But this teaching is not just for Arjuna, it's for me also. So when Bhagavan gives Arjuna some instruction, when we read it, we should not think that a very nice dialogue is going on. See how beautifully Bhagavan is answering Arjuna's questions. Arjuna is also thinking of some very intelligent questions. He is absorbing everything. Very nice dialogue is going on. If we read it like this, we may as well read some novel instead. There is no point. There is some point. But if we read it as something that has nothing to do with us, we will not gain from that Bhagavad Gita. We will not gain from that study. How should we read that I am in this situation and I need the teaching which Bhagavan is giving to Arjuna? Generally the teaching, when we read like this, what will happen? We will benefit. So when you start some study of the Gita, when you read this commentary, as you leave, everybody will get a copy of the Gita with our Puja Gurudev's commentary. When you read it as though it's relevant to you. Because then we will benefit. Then we will be able to gain from this teaching. Then we will really be closer to achieving that ultimate goal of permanent happiness, which we are all looking for. So, if there are some questions we can see.
Thank you very much, Shripriyaji. This is amazing. We have a few questions. What is the best way for the youth to study the Gita?
What you're doing now is very good. I don't know if it's an organized thing or only you learn, Mana. honest, but Gita chanting is very good. Actually, not only for children, for us also. Gita chanting, because then what happens then, once we learn, then this curiosity starts growing that actually, what am I chanting? What is it that my parents are making me memorize? Every day they're making me sit here and practice. Do you have this question? What am I chanting? Because when they have the curiosity, they themselves will study. You will not need to tell them that you should study Bhagavad Gita. So chanting, but also when we ourselves have studied and we have understood the message, we can take whatever is relevant and we can pass that message on. So that is what we are doing in our Bal Vihar classes. So many other organizations are there. These teachings that are being imparted to the children are not something different. It is from our scriptures only. But this is one way. So learn to chant and then this curiosity will grow. They themselves will pursue it.
Thank you. How do we resolve the conflict between duty and happiness?
Why does this conflict arise? First, let us ask this question. Why does this conflict arise between duty and happiness? The scriptures, when they speak to us, when our rishis speak to us through the Vedas, when Bhagavan speaks to us through the Gita, he is speaking with a long-term vision in mind. He is looking at our overall growth, our overall well-being, our long-term happiness. And from that perspective, he teaches us what is our dharma. When we try to see how can I be happy in life, our perspective, generally speaking, is short-term. We have a short-term vision. How can I gain happiness? Here and now. Or, if not here and now, then as early as possible. So if any conflict does arise, it is because of this conflict that we are not seeing the bigger picture. And if we are ready to acknowledge that the bigger picture is more important than short-term vision, there will not be any conflict between what I see as my dharma and what I feel will make me happy. When I understand this, I will be willing to follow my dharma and I will not compromise and I will not have this question that why should I do this when it's making me unhappy? Because we will understand that really the result of that dharma will be the attainment of that permanent happiness which we are looking for.
Are 4 yugas cyclical? If yes, a soul liberated in first cycle, does it take birth again in a different cycle?
No. No. So the yugas are, this is described in all our Puranas. So if you read the Bhagavad Puran, other Puranas, this cycle of creation is described. And it is said that time is cyclical and it runs in these 4 yugas. So right now we are in Kali Yuga. It is our great fortune. And normally people think, what, that this Kali Yuga, everything is going wrong, this, that. Actually, Kali Yuga, different spiritual practices are prescribed in the different yugas. So in Satya Yuga, in the first yuga where there was supposedly, the greatest amount of purity that people were having and people were living, the practice that was prescribed was meditation. So to withdraw the mind, make it very single-pointed, make it focused, and to meditate on the self. Then meditation on some form. Then performing rituals. Doing different homas, yajnas, havan, this, that. In Kali Yuga, you know what the sadhana, the means that is prescribed is? Nama japa. Now you tell me what is easier, to organize some havan, to do some meditation, to do some ritual, or to sit down and do nama japa. Actually, we are lucky. So these 4 yugas are said to run in a cycle, and they're said to be outside. But what is also said is that if I purify my mind, even if Kali Yuga is going on, within I can be in Satya Yuga. And once somebody becomes liberated, once somebody realizes the nature of their self, once they know that truth, there is no coming back. Bhagavan himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, in different places it is said that Nasa bhuyo bhijayate. There is no punaragamanam, there is no coming back. So a liberated person does not have rebirth.
Another question about rebirth. Do we come back as a human being in our next life?
We want, you know what we want? We want some guarantee. You know, when we buy something very expensive, we look for the warranty. That if I break it, I can return it and get something new. We also want some guarantee that if I have to come back, don't tell me that it can be as anything other than human. So, remember when we're thinking in terms of Sanatan Dharma, spirituality, our primary means of knowledge are the Vedas. And in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, it is said that one is born yatha karma yatha shrutam. What does this mean? According to one's karma and according to one's knowledge, the next birth, the next form is taken up. So depending on what type of karma I have done in this life, what type of action I have performed, depending on what is my knowledge, according to that I will be reborn. Because my karmas alone, it is not that Bhagavan is sitting somewhere and deciding that, you know what, this person, once he didn't come to the temple on his birthday, so chalo, let's make him a mosquito. No such thing is happening. Our karmas only are deciding, our knowledge, our understanding only is deciding how we are reborn. So if we want a guarantee, we have to make that guarantee ourselves. We have to live up to the dignity of being a human being. We have to live with that kind of understanding, with that kind of humanity. And if we don't, then there is no guarantee, I'm afraid. It is not given.
I don't have any more questions. Do you? Does anyone else?
Anybody has?
But just following on the topic of rebirth, and is it necessary that your karma, whatever you do, takes effect only in the next birth? Or, obviously, can you see the effects of your actions in this birth, and how do you?
Yes. So, we can't decide what result of action comes when, right? It's not in our hands. The result of any action is not in our hands. According to the laws of karma, according to Bhagavan's rules, he only is karma phaladata. He is the giver of results of actions. So it may be that they come now, it may be that they come later, but what is guaranteed is that they will come. We don't know what form they will come. We don't know when they will come. And, if it weren't for Bhagavan's grace, it is His grace only that ensures that we are still smiling. Because He is very compassionately spacing out our difficulties. Meaning that there is an amount of grace that is involved in determining when the results of actions come. But we are not in charge. The only thing that we can do is put forth effort to perform positive karmas. And by performing positive karmas, we are influencing the result to that extent. So we can't say when they will come, we can't say how they will come. But if we want to influence the nature of that result, meaning what experiences come to us, we can do that karma in the best possible way, and that will have some effect.
I'm not reading a question here. Can I ask something? Is it okay?
Mm-hmm.
I think people get brainwashed and they sort of do the wrong things. It is not in their control at that time when they're doing the wrong things. Then who is responsible for that? Because like you are telling all of us to do the right thing, and if we follow it, we do right thing. But sometimes people get completely brainwashed and do all types of things. So whose mistake is that then?
If there is still the ability to decide what is being done, if I still have control, autonomy over my body and the way that my limbs are functioning, the way that I'm acting, I'm speaking, if I have that control, and with that understanding, I speak or I act, then that result of that action will come to me. It is not that I am, I'm immune from that, or I am excused from it, as though. So, when we say people get brainwashed, I'm making an assumption that what you mean is that they are taught to think in a certain way, right? But they are still thinking. It may not be according to how we think that they should think. It may be different to how we think they should think, but they are still thinking according to some belief. And based on that belief, based on that thought, they are then they're doing action. Why I say that only when this autonomy over the body is there? Because, for example, a child who doesn't have, is not necessarily consciously doing something. By mistake, or when you're sleeping even. When you're sleeping, some people are very active in sleep also. So you kick or you hit. So that is not done consciously. So the result of that karma is then it's not that I will receive something negative because I've not consciously gone to hurt somebody. But if based on my thinking and my understanding, I'm still acting, then the result of those actions will still come back to me. Even if this thinking according to our understanding, according to our framework or beliefs is different, still that person is thinking and doing it with doership, so that action will come back to them. Means the result will come to them.
Thank you very much. So this has been absolutely